This is Audible.
Audible Studios presents The Gift of Fear, Survival Signals that Protect Us from Violence. Written and performed by Gavin de Becker.
Author's Note: Men of all ages and in all parts of the world are more violent than women. For this reason, the language in this book is mostly gender-specific to men. When it comes to violence, women can proudly relinquish recognition in the language because here at least, politically correct would be statistically incorrect. Every story in this book is true, and 90% of the names used are the actual names of the people involved. The remainder have been changed to protect privacy or safety. Forward to the 2021 edition. In 2009, when Oprah Winfrey kindly dedicated an hour-long show to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the publication of this book, my publisher rushed to get a bunch more copies into print. Taken all together, The Gift of Fear has been published in 25 editions across 24 years, including the original hardcover, several paperback versions, 2 audiobooks, the Kindle edition, and 18 foreign language translations. With every new edition, I considered whether to add content about whatever world events or developments were happening at that time. After 9/11, I wondered if more should be added about terrorism. As the internet and social networking became more central to modern life, should new material about that be added? And today, should the book have new content about the impact of lockdowns related to COVID-19, or about political and cultural division, or about the anonymity afforded by face coverings, or about risks arising from unemployment, or about the 12,000 demonstrations that occurred in 2020. Each time some new issue dominated our attention, I saw that the fundamentals of human violence and the associated fundamentals of safety do not change. There are chapters ahead about stalking and harassment, and given the increased role of the internet in our lives, perpetrators now have a wider menu of intrusive strategies than when this book was first published. Also, the internet offers greater anonymity to unwanted pursuers and less privacy to their targets. So technology has expanded the ways in which people can track down those they intend to harass or harm, and technology has at the same time made hiding much more difficult. Evolving technologies have made violent video games more widespread and also more realistic. Social networking has changed the way people come into one another's lives. And though offering women some insulation at the start of relationships, these online services also present one's image and information to a larger population than might be wise to do. Via the internet, many have become emotionally invested in virtual relationships. While people in virtual relationships might not really know each other at all, the illusion of intimacy can be such that some situations have escalated in disturbing ways, even to murder of a competing online suitor. Despite all these changes and evolutions, the basic tenets of human behavior remain unchanged. No matter what the method of communication between predator and target, actual challenges to safety do not happen online or during a phone call. They happen only in person. And thus, what has really changed is that predators have more methods through which to persuade someone to have an in-person meeting. This book describes the strategies predators use when grooming and persuading targets. And those strategies are the same, whether applied via internet, email, text messaging, social networks, telephone, snail mail, or face-to-face. Media changes. Human nature does not. Violence and predation have been part of human life for millions of years, and the changes of a mere 25 years since this book was first published are really inconsequential. The best safety strategy remains exactly the same as it has been throughout human history. Avoid being in the presence of someone you feel might do you harm. I could have written a new chapter in recent years about evolving gender roles and identities, but it would remain true that when a man in our culture says no, it's the end of a discussion. And when a woman in our culture says no,